Welcome back to my channel, or welcome here if you are new. So today we are doing our 2024 Thanksgiving Cook With Me. So this is definitely my absolute favorite video to film and put out for you guys because for one, I have so much fun cooking, and two, I just like to share like my tried and true recipes that I do every year for Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is a little bit different this year. Last year, and really any years before that, I host like a huge Thanksgiving and I do it all. And so this year I was like, I am gonna scale back a little bit and not do that to myself. So this year I am only hosting my side of the family because we actually spend Thanksgiving with my husband's side on Thanksgiving Day. So it just tends to be a lot. So this year I was doing things differently. So the menu is scaled back a lot, but it is my tried and true recipe. So just a little rundown of the meal plan that I have. So I'm gonna do a turkey roast, a ham, stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, dinner rolls, mac and cheese, deviled eggs. For dessert, I'm doing a pumpkin dump cake and pecan dump cake. And then I always have a holiday punch. So we are gonna go ahead and get started. Today is Saturday, so I kind of organized everything, and I'll turn you around and show you in just a second. But I do as much prep as I can on Saturday or the day before, and then I will get up early on Sunday morning and do the rest of it. So let me turn you around and share with you the plan. Okay, so last night I sat down and just kind of went through everything, and so I highlighted the stuff that I'm going to be doing on Saturday, and I highlighted the stuff that I'm going to be doing on Sunday. So today I've got deviled eggs, a pumpkin dump cake, pecan dump cake, and then I'm also going to shred the cheese for the mac and cheese just to make things a little bit easier on myself. And then tomorrow I kind of numbered everything of like in order of what I need to be doing things. And then I also came over here and I organized like what I want everything to go in. So that's kind of how I organize things, but we are gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna cook everything that I need to on Saturday. Okay, so we are going to get started with the pumpkin dump cake. So this is a super easy recipe. It is a can of pumpkin, some evaporated milk, some sugar and vanilla, and you just mix everything together and lay it in the bottom of a casserole dish, and then you're going to sprinkle some cake mix on top with some butter, and then you just bake it in the oven, and it is delicious. My dad actually said that it was better than pumpkin pie, so highly recommend trying this if you like pumpkin pie. But all of these recipes that I use will be linked down below for you so you can reference. And also, all of the other Thanksgiving Cook With Me's that I've done in the past will be linked down below in my holiday playlist as well. Like I said, these are my favorite videos to film. And so I just like sharing good recipes with you guys. And throughout this video, you will have to excuse my voice because I have come down with some sort of chest cold. Pretty sure my kids gave it to me, but it is what it is. And I really wanted to get this out for you guys before Thanksgiving so that if you needed any last minute recipes, you could get them from my video. So to make things a little easier on myself, I did go to the Dollar Tree and get some aluminum foil pans, and I'm so glad that I did because I just don't have enough dishes to serve an entire meal like this. So I always try and make things easier on myself. So going and getting foil pans is perfectly fine if that is what you need to do. Also, I like getting foil pans because if you're taking a dish somewhere else and you really don't want to take it back home, or if you don't want to worry about getting your dish back from someone, then you can just leave it at their house and they can deal with the trash, which kind of sounds, kind of mean, but at the same time, it's also convenient for everyone because, if you're hosting dinner at someone's house, then it's nice for them to have leftovers too. So anyway, I just like the foil pans and the disposable stuff. So that is what we use whenever we have get-togethers and stuff. Dollar Tree has some really great options. if you can see my recipe book in the background there, that is a recipe book that I created, and I have slowly but surely put my own recipes in the book, just kind of wrote them down. I created this recipe book and it is available on Amazon, and it's always linked down below for you. But I just wanted to be able to give my tried and true recipes to my kids whenever they get older, or any family members that ever want a copy of it. I just wanted to start that for future generations. So that is why I created my own recipe book, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I do. And then I got the recipe book holder from Temu. I think it was like $8 or $9, much cheaper than it was on Amazon or Walmart. So highly recommend going on Temu and seeing if you can find one. So now we are getting started on the pecan pie dump cake. So I have actually never made a pecan pie. I'm just not someone that likes to make pies, unless it's pumpkin pie, of course. But I was just always so intimidated with the pecan pie because it just seems like a lot. But this was actually really, really easy. However, it was very, very sweet. And I know that pecan pie is supposed to be sweet, but I think the next time that I make this, I will use light brown corn syrup. I guess it's just light corn syrup instead of the dark, because I think the dark is actually sweeter. So anyway, I think I'll do that next time. But yeah, this was really, really good. It was very, very rich. My grandpa commented about how sweet it was. And so yeah, just kind of keep that in mind, or maybe make that a substitute. I don't know, if you know more about pumpkin pie recipes, then you probably know what to do. But I was just following the recipe that I had printed out, and this turned out really, really good. It was good despite it being sweet. And also the recipe called for like 4 cups of pecans, and I did not realize that until I had already went grocery shopping. And my bag only had 2 cups. So that is what I used, and it turned out just fine. But yeah, also, if you've not seen my Thanksgiving grocery haul, make sure and go watch that. Most of the ingredients that I'm using today, actually a lot of the ingredients that I'm using today, are from Aldi. I've been going grocery shopping at Aldi for the past couple months, and I've been really enjoying it. We've definitely noticed better quality in our food and stuff, especially the meat. So just food for thought there. But yeah, this pumpkin pie dump cake was really, really good, and another recipe that I highly recommend. And of course, it'll be linked down below for you. So this recipe is kind of the same concept as the pumpkin dump cake. You just make the filling, you put it on the bottom, and then you top it with some cake mix. This one said that you needed white cake mix, which Aldi did have, so I just sprinkled that on top. And then it was kind of unique in the sense that it called for a cup of water. I really don't know the science behind that, but like I said, I just followed the recipe. So you do some butter with some water, and then you sprinkle brown sugar and pecans over the top, and then you bake it in the oven. And so yeah, like I said, this turned out really good, but I just thought the water part was kind of weird. But I've never made pecan pie before, so maybe that's part of a regular pecan pie recipe. I really don't know. But, you know, first time making a recipe, you probably want to follow the recipe. So we are moving on to the deviled eggs, and this is my absolute favorite way to make boiled eggs. So I use the 5-5-5 method in the Instant Pot. So you put your eggs in the bottom, and then you add about a half a cup to a cup of water, depending on how many eggs you have. And then you let it manual pressure cook for 5 minutes, sealed obviously. And then you let it do a natural release for 5. And then you want to have an ice bath waiting for you, because as soon as it's naturally released for 5 minutes, you've got to get them out of there and get them in your ice bath for 5 minutes. And as long as you use this method, the shells will just come right off. I mean, my shells were coming off like in whole pieces. So I love this method, and it works perfectly every single time. After I've got my eggs peeled and I took all the yolks out, I'm going to go ahead and work on my filling. So I feel like my filling, I don't ever use a recipe, so it's different every time, but we do like more of a savory filling. I do like a little bit of sweetness, so we do add, Miracle Whip and a little bit of sugar. And then sometimes I'll add relish too, but I just didn't have any this time. So I'm doing mayonnaise, Miracle Whip, a little bit of mustard, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and that is it. And after you've done this a few times, you kind of know, what the consistency is that you're looking for. So I did add a little bit more mayonnaise, and then I mixed it again and then tasted it. And, I just kind of kept doing that until I got the consistency and the flavor that I wanted. I'm also going to go ahead and shred up my cheese for my mac and cheese. I wanted to go ahead and get most of the dishes done this night. So this was just one less dish that I had to worry about the next morning. So I'm just shredding up my cheese, and I can throw this in the dishwasher, and this will be easy for me to grab tomorrow when I need my cheese for the mac and cheese. So it is the next day, the next morning. It's about 9 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and put my ham in the crock pot. I was going to cook it in the oven, but I kind of just wanted to put my meats in the crock pot and just let them cook and not worry about it. So decided to put my ham in the crock pot. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the package. And I try to get the juices down to the bottom of this bag as much as I could so that I could just dump it in. And this is a spiral cut ham, but I wish they cut the ham a little bit farther down, but they don't. So I cut it, later on, but I'm just kind of spreading out all the slices so that I can put the seasoning packet. And I know that that's not how the packet is intended to be used, but I just wanted to do this to give it some more flavor. And I will tell you that it definitely worked. It was a very delicious and juicy ham. So I think I've only actually made the glaze one time, but I always just sprinkle it on top, and the ham makes its own juice. So anyways, just put that in there and forgot about it. And then my turkey. So this is a turkey breast roast, and it comes with 2 to 3 breasts in it. And I think that's what it is. I don't really know for sure. I just know that I ended up having 3 pieces of turkey that I had to cut up. So I'm just taking it out of the package. It comes in this little package with some gravy, which I wish that I would have kept, but when I was opening it up, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make my own gravy, so I don't need to worry about it. But in hindsight, I probably would have kept it. But anyways, I'm just gonna take it out of this little mesh bag here, and then I'm gonna dump it in my crock pot. And the seasoning that I use, it's super simple. So it is the Tony's Creole butter seasoning. You'll see it here in just a second. It comes with this little syringe, and I just inject it a few times throughout the day. And you just kind of let it go. And I sprinkled the top with a little bit of salt and pepper, and I just let this go on low for about 4 to 5 hours. But one thing about this turkey, my dad said that this was the best turkey he had ever had, and everyone wanted to know how I made it. So yeah, this is definitely a good way to cook a turkey if you are not comfortable with a big bird, and I am definitely not comfortable with the big bird. So definitely will be doing this for years to come, I'm sure. Next, I'm going to get started on my dinner rolls. I have talked endlessly about these Rhodes dinner rolls. They also have cinnamon rolls, and I absolutely love them. So I'm going to put these on just on a sheet tray, and then I'm going to put it in the oven the oven is off, but I'm just going to let them rise in the oven. And then later on, I did end up turning it on, just like the keep warm function, for about 10 minutes. And they ended up rising the rest of the way. But these dinner rolls are absolutely delicious. Highly recommend. So because I was going to keep my turkey gravy in a crock pot to keep it warm, I wanted to go ahead and knock it out so that I could have this pan for other things. So I'm going to go ahead and boil up 4 cups of water. I'm doing 4 packages of gravy, so that's why I did 4 cups of water. And then I'm just going to add my gravy packets in. I just got the turkey gravy from Walmart, and it was delicious, so definitely recommend if you need gravy from Aldi. It is good. So I'm just going to make it according to the package directions, and then I will transfer it over to my, I think it's a 2-quart crock pot. I don't use it very often, but I do use it for this purpose for the holidays, and it works perfectly. Next, I'm going to get started peeling and chopping my potatoes. So this is another way that I love to use my Instant Pot. Super simple, and you don't have to chop the potatoes into really small pieces. I usually just stew them in fourths. So I'm just peeling them, and then I will wash them and chop them. And then I'm going to put them in the Instant Pot with a cup of water, and I'm going to season with some kosher salt. Potatoes can take a lot of seasoning, so I do like to add quite a bit of salt because that's where you get all of your flavor, is like before you season them. So, and then you're going to put it in your Instant Pot and pressure cook it for 12 to 13 minutes. I had about 5 pounds of potatoes here, so I pressure cooked it for 13 minutes. And then when that is done, you're going to quick release it. And it takes a while to come up to pressure, so that's why I wanted to go ahead and get it done. Plus, my Instant Pot has a keep warm function, so it stays hot until I need to serve it. So definitely love using my Instant Pot for this reason. But while that was going, I was going to go ahead and work on other things. So I'm going to get started on the green bean casserole. It was getting down to crunch time, so I feel like I was doing a whole lot at once at this point. So green bean casserole is definitely like one of my favorite dishes for Thanksgiving. Let me know down below what your favorite dish is for Thanksgiving, and what's a dish that you wouldn't mind someone not making anymore. I'm definitely not a fan of sweet potatoes, never have been, probably never will be. So anyway, my green bean casserole recipe is 3 cans of green beans. I'm going to season with some minced onion and then also some beef bouillon powder. I always season my green beans with the beef bouillon. And then I'm just going to let it come up to boil so those flavors can kind of melt together. And then I will drain the liquid off. And then we're going to add 1 can of cream of mushroom. And then the milk, I don't really measure, but I just kind of look for a certain consistency. I want it to be pretty creamy so that it can, disperse between the 3 cans of green beans. And this seems to be a pretty good ratio. And then you don't need to season with salt or pepper or anything because you already have the beef bouillon seasoning, and it gives it just a really good flavor. So highly recommend that. And then once you get everything mixed together, you're going to mix in a little bit of the French fried onions, transfer it to a casserole dish, and then you're going to top it with the rest of the French fried onions. And I just bake this in the oven on 350 for about 10 to 15 minutes. You just kind of want the onions on top to get crispy. And then that is done. Green bean casserole is so yummy. And if you've not tried it, definitely try it. You might like it. My son did not like it. And then he tried it this year and he was like, oh my gosh, Mom, this is like one of the best things I've ever had. And he has had green bean casserole like 1 to 2 times every day since we had this dinner. And he absolutely loves it. So anyways, just highly recommend trying green bean casserole if you've not tried it, or if you haven't tried it in a while. Our taste buds change as we get a little bit older, so you might like it now. You never know. At this point, it was about an hour before everyone was set to be here, so I just went ahead and checked the turkey's temperature, and I injected it one last time. I think at this point we were about at 155, so we were pretty close because turkey needs to get to 165, so we were very, very close. But I wanted to go ahead and inject it one more time. I think I ended up injecting like 3 times altogether. I did not end up using this whole can or this whole bottle of the injection, but once you put the needle in from raw meat, you can't use it again. So, you know, just kind of be mindful of that. Next time, if I remember, I might just dump some into a separate dish and only use half of it so I can use it again for something else. But now we're going to move back over to the mashed potatoes. So this method for mashed potatoes is not one that I use all the time. It is very, very rich. So I'm putting probably about 1.5 sticks of butter in with these 5 pounds of potatoes. I'm going to add some sour cream. I probably added about 1/2 cup of sour cream and then about 1/2 cup of cream cheese. And I actually learned this from Acre Homestead, but if you put in your mix-ins in your mashed potatoes and then you just kind of let it sit with the steam and let everything kind of come to the same temperature, then you can come back and stir it all together, and it just mixes so much better that way instead of putting like really cold stuff on top of really hot mashed potatoes. So that's what I did. I just waited a little bit and then I came back in with my hand mixer. Fun fact about this hand mixer, this is actually my great grandma's, and I don't know when she got it, but it is super old and it is still going strong. I think I've had it for at least 10 years, so who knows how long she had it for you know, before I got it. But anyways, just finishing up those mashed potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the stuffing. I ended up making 3 boxes of stuffing, and I will tell you, it is way too much. So I will be having a video showing you how I repurpose all of these leftovers, and I'm really excited about it because I have some really good ideas. But anyway, I'm just following the box directions on the stuffing, and I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then I will add the stuffing into this pot and then remove it from the heat for 5 minutes and then fluff it with a fork. Moving on to one of the last things. This is my famous mac and cheese recipe. So I will leave the recipe linked up or typed out down below for you. I don't have a link for it, but it's basically like you're making an Alfredo sauce, but you put velveeta and sharp cheddar cheese in it instead, and that is how you make the cheese sauce. I don't like making roux because I feel like it gives like a weird texture, and this way it just comes out with a much creamier mac and cheese. And no, it is not healthy. This is processed cheese, but it's also mac and cheese, and I've never met a mac and cheese that was healthy. So, you know, it's not really meant to be healthy, and it is okay to indulge during the holidays, and you know, it's okay. So anyways, I'm just putting 1/2 block of velveeta in here. So that would be, 16 ounces. And then I'm going to add 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese that we grated yesterday to my heavy cream. I did 2 cups of heavy cream, and then just a little bit of, it would have been butter, but I was out of butter. at that point. So just a little bit of margarine. And then I just seasoned with some salt and pepper. And we're just going to mix this together until all of the cheese melts down. It does take a little bit. And something to note when you're making this, you do not want your cream to boil. You want to add in your Velveeta when it starts to steam. And then you can add in your noodles once it melts down. And then sometimes I do have to add a little bit more milk. It just kind of depends. But you kind of just have to taste it and do what you feel. But this time I did end up adding a little bit of milk because it was like super cheesy. I think it's because I used the Aldi melt Velveeta. So yeah. But yeah, that is my famous mac and cheese recipe if you're interested. A lot of people ask me for that recipe, so I will definitely have it typed out down below for you. And then finishing up the stuffing, just fluffing it with this nice little fork that I got off Amazon. I think I actually saw Jen Chapin use it, so that's why I got it. I love her. Now that the turkey and the ham is done, we are going to go ahead and remove it from the crock pot. I did keep the juices in there because I'm going to put it back in the crock pot and let the meat kind of like reabsorb the juice. But as you can see, the turkey just is kind of just falling apart. Like I'm barely even having to chop it. It is super tender and very juicy. And this was so delicious. I cannot stress enough how juicy and just absolutely tender it was. So I'm trying to kind of get the fat off of each side of the breast here. And I couldn't tell if that was 2 pieces of breast or if like the one piece fell apart. I don't know. But that's why I said you might get 2 or 3 pieces of a breast in here. It looks like it's 2, but anyway, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm just chopping these into bite-sized pieces. I ended up chopping them into chunks because it was so hot and it was just falling apart. So, I mean, I couldn't really like chop it into much uniform pieces, but I was doing the best that I could. So anyways, and Liam wanted a piece, so I let him try a piece and he said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, that is good." So, yeah, even my kids really liked it. So definitely recommend trying this method of making turkey, especially if you're intimidated by a big bird. Moving on over to the ham, so you can see it came out all in one piece. The slices that were spiral sliced were not sliced all the way down, so I did end up cutting it in half and kind of slicing it myself, if that kind of makes sense. You'll see what I'm doing here in just a second, but I wanted to go ahead and slice it so that everyone could just grab and go, but you can see that it's not all the way sliced through, so I did that. And then, oh, apparently I threw the rolls in the oven too. That was probably the last thing that I did. But I'm just kind of slicing it so that everyone can grab and go. And then the big hunk that was left, I mean, look how much ham is left. That's like half of the ham. So I did go ahead and chop that up too. I don't think it was as tender as the slices. I don't really know, why, or I'm not real educated in ham and, how all that works. But I did chop it up and it will not go to waste. So yeah, this ham was really, really good. That glaze, you can see how much juice is on it. It was just falling apart basically. So yeah, I was really, really proud of myself with this dinner. I mean, I will say normally I am really stressed out during the holidays, but this year when I scaled everything back and it was just my side of the family, we ended up only having 3 extra people. And then of course our family of 5, but I was not stressed out. I was not worried about things getting done at a certain time. I had things very well planned out, and I was just really proud of myself. And I think moving forward, I will continue to do Thanksgiving dinner this way. And yeah,
So just a little note for me, try not to stress out, because at the end of the day, it's all about just hanging out with your family and spending time with people that you don't get to spend time with very often, or that's how it is for me anyways. But so this punch recipe, it's called Holiday Punch. I think I saw it on Pinterest, but I make it every Thanksgiving. I think I've been making it for like 6 or 7 years at this point, way before my YouTube days. But it is ginger ale, cranberry juice, not cocktail, just the regular juice. Aldi only had sugar-free or zero sugar, whatever, and it tasted fine. I mean, you could definitely tell that it was the sugar-free, but it wasn't bad at all. And then I feel like the secret ingredient that makes it just over the top is this sparkling apple cider. Let me tell you, it is so, so good. I think my kids had like 4 or 5 glasses of this. It was so delicious, and it's definitely one of our favorite things as far as like a crowd pleaser. So highly recommend making it. And you can see that, I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot. So if you're having a really big crowd, you might double it, you know, just because it's that good. And I don't think it would go to waste if you had a really big crowd. So I'm just putting it in my little, I don't know, what you call this, a drink dispenser. And then mine actually has a insert in the middle where you can put some ice to keep it cold. And then I just had these little disposable cups from Dollar Tree, and I set everything up and was just kind of waiting on people to get here at this point. So here's what everything looks like when it all came together. I had everything setting out. So I've got my potatoes, my green bean casserole. I put some butter on the side for the rolls. They look delicious. They're so good. Here is the turkey. You can tell up close just like how juicy it is. And yeah, definitely a delicious turkey dinner. And then I have my gravy over here in the crock pot. I got my ham in this crock pot. This ham was so good and tender and like perfectly sweet. So good. And then my stuffing, which, you know, nothing special about stuffing, but it is like traditional. So I always make it. And then mac and cheese, super cheesy. And then on the other table, I had my deviled eggs. Amazing. I love deviled eggs. And then also my pecan pie and my pumpkin pie, and then our punch on this table as well. So that is the end of this year's Thanksgiving Cook With Me. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.